welcome to the shop. I hope you all had a nice Christmas and I wish you a happy new year. I just noticed that my little channel has reached the 300 subscribers, and that would not be possible without you, your comments, your feedback, and also not without the folks of the machining YouTube group on Facebook that's kept up by Ben Sandner and James Green. There I got very good feedback on my videos, and I just want to thank you all that watch my videos, comment them, give feedback, and just participate in what I do or what we do. For me it's part of the hobby to share what I can do, how I do it, and I always hope that people can take something from it, an idea or a technique that's new to them, though that's why I do it. My projects are a bit on the slow side right now, so I decided to do a shop. Okay, I'm taking your freehand, and so be aware this might get a bit shaky. This is the door, you enter the shop, and right next to it there is the shop computer that also doubles as the CNC controller for my milling machine. Next, there comes the milling machine. That's a Lathe G2 engraving machine, which I retrofitted with ball screws in X and Y, and also I fit glass scales to X and Y. I removed the pantograph mechanism on top and fitted a 40 taper high-speed head from a Deckel FP2 milling machine to it. So now I have a small knee mill, full CNC controlled, with a pretty wide speed range on the head, and also pretty accurate because of the glass scales I have here. The glass scales give the position of the table back to the controller, and due to the closed loop control, the machine corrects for any drifting of the table. So it's like a servo system, but with steppers and glass scales. So that's my milling machine. Right next there is my Deckel G2 engraving machine. I have a video up on this one that shows it in detail. This machine is, I got this from a retired machinist or mechanic that worked at BMW in Munich, and this machine was standing in their apprentice's shop. By the look of it, it is almost unused and like new. Well, it's just a nice machine to operate. On the bottom there is my shop vac and my Chinese bandsaw. I need to build a new stand for the bandsaw as this wooden one starts to disintegrate. But the bandsaw itself is pretty decent for the money it costs. It saws straight and just about anything I put on it. In front there is my rolling tool cart. I keep the bigger hand tools in it. Most of the time I use it as a roll around table where I keep my tooling for the milling machine that I'm using right now, and also I have most of the time a few dial indicators, dial testing cases with their MAC bases set up on top of it. So I can just recharge and grab them and use them, put them back. And that's what I use this card most of the time. Next to the bandsaw we have my lathe. This is a Chinese 9x20. It can swing 250 millimeters or 9 inches and 550 millimeters from center to center or 20 inches. I did a complete rebuild of this machine. I scraped all the ways. Also, as you can see, the top side of the cross slide is scraped. So this is a reference surface. I can use this as a clamping surface when I'm doing line boring. I fitted a Swiss trepan tool holder to it. Which uses this style of dovetailed holders. I choose this kind of holders because with the dovetail I can make the holders myself. One of the bigger modifications on the machine is the rack and pinion type tailstock. I have this big hand wheel on top, which moves the quill. This is very handy for drilling holes. You have pretty fine feet or sensitive feet, and you can retract very fast when you're clearing your chips. Overall, I'm very happy with this lathe. The size is about the right what I need. It can take a pretty heavy cut for such a small lathe, and it's not too loud. The precision is also pretty okay. Above the machines on this side in the shop is a big part of my machine tooling, like the 40 taper tooling for the CNC milling machine. Up here there's some more 40 taper tooling. Back here is my Wohlhaupt the boring head, my 3D probe, parallels, collets. I use ER collets for all my machines. These are ER25. I have also ER16 and 11 for the smaller work. Up here I have a magnetic chuck for the lathe, a small 3-jaw chuck for the lathe when I do small work, my tilting dividing head that I made the jaws for. I have a video on the making of the jaws. There is my ball turner I made for the lathe. My rotary axis for the CNC milling machine that I built. Some vices, and that's it for these shelves. And there is next a shelf with some more tooling. This is most lathe tooling, like high-speed tool bits, inserted tools, a spare parting blade, inserts, threading tools from M12 down to M1.4. And I also have a set of tabs and dies down to M1. There are also gear teeth cutters, wheel cutters for the milling machine, and of course saw blades. And here I keep my thread cutters in their holder. Everyone has its own holder, so I don't have to swap them around all the time. And in the bottom drawer I keep the gears for thread cutting on my lathe. And there's the lathe, and over here that's my shaper. That's a German-made GAC HE20 tool room shaper. I got this from a friend. That got it from a machinery dealer, and that one got it from the German army. It's a surplus machine. It was in storage for the end of the Third World War. As he got it, it was new. All the surfaces had the conservation wax or customer line on it, and the documentation was complete, and also all the accessories that went with it, like the vise. Also, there are two styles of clapper boxes for this machine. This is the standard one that cuts on the push, and there is also one that cuts on the pull, so the chip fly that direction, headed towards the column of the machine. The machine has a stroke of 200 millimeters on the ram, about 300 millimeters cross traverse, and I think 200 millimeters in that direction in the elevation of the table. Then my small 200 amp TIG welder. It's a DC welder, DC and pulse. And also I got this welding helmet from Optrel. It's made in Switzerland, and it's a pretty strange welding helmet, or weld cap as they call it. It has no hard shell. It's basically a base cap with a welding visor or darkening visor to it. The nice thing about it is that it's shaped in a way that you can, the glass or the lens is very close to your eyes, so you have a wide field of vision with this. And also it's very light. It's way lighter than a normal welding helmet. Okay, that's it for my welder. And next to it there's a Lister drawer cabinet with a work surface on top, and with my bench vise and my tool block. To top of this workbench there is my stack of toolboxes, which contains my small hand tools. On top there is just an assortment of small stuff that I need all the time. There is a soapstone for welding, excuse me. There are small spring clamps, small C-clamps, die cam for spotting glue, for scraping, water resistant markers, pencils. These are neat. These are welder's pencils. They have a silverish white lead, and they show up under the welding helmet. And magnifying glasses and baling wire. As I do a lot of small work, I also have macro adapters for my DLRS, so I can get closer with the camera to the workpieces. Then below there are, this is the dial indicator drawer. At the moment there's only one small dial indicator and my 2000 millimeter MAR test indicator. Also there are bridges for depth measuring with the dial indicators. In the center drawer we have a pocket scale for mixing glue and resin, and a RPM meters. In the right drawer we have a lead lens, and this is a deacator. It's made in Germany, and it's center on round features on a workpiece, center on bores. Also my shop-made dial test indicator holder to center bores and round workpieces. You chuck this side up in the milling machine and put a dial test indicator on this side down here, which has a dovetail like the dial test indicators. And then you can use this to center out holes. There's my drawer with the most used measuring tools. I have normal calipers, 150 millimeters, a set of 80 millimeter calipers, small ones, my Mitutoyo digital calipers that I use most of the time, squares, a set of feeler gauges. Back there is a straight edge, a short one. This one is a needle gauge or small hole gauge with the conical needle on front, and back here is a vernier scale. You put this up in a hole or in a slot. You can also measure slots with it, and then you move the housing of the gauge down until it contacts the workpiece, and then you can read your dimension on the scale. This is not a high precision instrument, but most of the times this is good enough. I have my small 25mm grinding vise here, my inside micrometers, 5 to 55mm, made by Mauser, Germany, and my most used micrometers, 0 to 25mm, made by Mitutoyo. This reads to 1000mm. My 25 to 50 is a Chinese cheapie, and my 50 to 75 is a German-made Mauser. This one is neat because, in fact, on a normal micrometer the thimble on the back is ratcheting, but this one is solid. On this one the barrel is ratcheting, so this is nice when you handle it with one hand. You can actually use the ratchet and measure with one hand. In the next drawer there's not too much. There is only my Swiss-made Helios def mic in it with the setting standards and the different rods for the different depths. This goes up to 150mm. In the last drawer of the top box I have single edge razor blades, a set of Chinese gauge blocks. I use these mostly for setup on the milling machine. A Starrett combination square with the hardened steel head, and the hardened rule. The rule is, I didn't go for the satin finished one. The steel, the polished steel one is good enough for me. And in front there is a universal angle gauge. There is a universal angle gauge with the movable blade. You can lock that and then you can set your angle. There is also a magnifier to make the reading of the vernier scale under it easier. That's it for the top drawer or the top box. Now for the bottom drawers. These are my hand tools that I use most of the time, or the rougher hand tools. Hammer, ball peen, and a metalworker's hammer. This is the European style hammerhead with the blade-like tip. Knipex pliers, scissors, screwdrivers. These are the heavy-duty screwdrivers with the metal cap on back that you can also use as a chisel. Small vice grips, 3 more Knipex pliers, round nose, needle nose, and small wire cutters, and a set of short Allen wrenches. The next drawer contains my tools for fine working. There are tweezers, different knives, a surgical knife, and some sculpting tools also. Jeweler's screwdrivers, some of my punches. These are shop made. I made these in apprenticeship. They are turned from drill rod, hardened at the end, and hardened at the very tip. Some chisels and heavy duty punches, the conical style. Small pipe cutters, some Q-tips, and toothpicks. Paper clips, deburring tools. I use the Noga ones, and there is a scraper style, 3-sided scraper, and these are the really jig ones. Tap handles, tap ratchet, single edge razor blades. I use these all the time. I use them for cutting, I use them for scraping, shaping, just about anything. They are very handy and they are cheap. Sander punches, these are Starrett ones, and this is a shop made one, turned and machined from silver steel, hardened at the ends, and yeah, sander punch. Some scribes, this is a carbide one, this is a steel one. What do you need? A set of needle files, different forms. Some have safe edges to them. They, if you don't know, a safe edge on a file means that you grind away the teeth of the file on one side, so you can work up to a shoulder without damaging it. And of course, brass brushes. Small 5-sided reamers to enlarge small holes in sheet metal, hand stones, a bench stone. These are nice. These are Degussite slipstones. They are made from synthetic ruby, and they are awesome. They don't wear, they don't break down, they hold their edge, and they are incredibly fine. These are used mostly for tool and die making and mold making to polish surfaces. I use these to polish my lathe tools, or to hone my lathe tool bits. And for the last drawer, Loctite, some JB Weld, a set of wrenches. This is a very nice set made by Proxon. These is a metric set from 6 to 22 millimeters. A jeweler saw, I used this a lot, and a small 1/4 inch ratchet set, or socket set with a ratchet. And that's it for my toolboxes. These are the hand tools I use all the time. Next to this small bench, there is my single lip cutter grinder. This is a Chinese copy of a Deckel SOE or SO. I use it for resharpening the front cutting edges of end mills, resharpening lathe bits, grinding lathe bits, making single lip cutters. Below the cutter grinder is my oxy-fuel set or rig. I have a 2-liter oxy bottle and these disposable fuel gas bottles hooked up to a small torch here. I use this setup almost exclusively for brazing and hardening small parts. The 2-liter oxy bottle lasts about a year in my shop. Okay, we're coming to the end. This is the main workbench in my workshop. This workbench is almost exclusively for fine handworking, for measuring. I have my granite surface plate under here. I'm just protecting it with paper from the debris from dust and abrasive debris in my shop. I know that the grinder next to the granite stone is not the best thing, but I'm limited on space, so I have to live with that. I have to keep the surface plate clean all the time. I have my small part cabinets here where I keep screws, ball bearings, bushings, dowel pins. There is my paint, oil and glue rack. Up here is shim stock on rolls. I also have a big roll of brass shim stock that I use to protect my milling table when I'm setting up rough work pieces. There is some of my material. I have these 3 boxes for small scraps and cutoffs. There is brass, steel and aluminum plastic mixed. And these 3 compartments I keep the bigger cut-offs, brass, steel and aluminum. Up here are the even bigger cut-offs. These I always write the material number on the end of the stock, so I can so I know what I have in front of me. So I know what this piece is when I'm going to use it. On this workbench I also have my drill press. This began its life as a cheap Chinese benchtop drill press. I rebuilt it completely. I machined a new quill. The quill here is completely machined by myself. I also made a new spindle that accepts Morse Taper 1 tooling. I scraped the table. I machined a new clamping to the column, a new clamping part, and also I replaced the column with a solid steel case hardened and ground rod, so this is not going to bend. and I added some bracing or some gussets under the table, so when you put load on top of it, it doesn't bend down. The table in the original configuration, you could bend it down by hand force about 2 or 3 millimeters. And I also fitted a new motor and an inverter drive, so I have speed adjustment on this machine by this knob. And the last machine here, and also the newest machine, is my bench grinder. It has 150 millimeter discs. This grinder runs pretty smooth without much vibration. So, of course, here I storage my long material. These are this shelf can take materials to a length of 1 meter, and as you can see, or maybe not, there is 40 millimeter PVC piping, and to keep some kind of to keep them somewhat sorted, I can keep my leaded steel here in one pipe, my brass and bronze. Here is key stock and so on, and I can keep all this sorted with the pipes. So, and that's it. That's my shop. I hope you enjoyed it, and feel free to comment, ask questions, and otherwise, thank you for watching.